That was one of the worst losses in the history of Auburn football.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. I don't know why you would want to hear any more about that disaster, that embarrassing, potentially program-altering performance against Kentucky. Auburn loses 10-3. You scored 3 points. Auburn needs to fire Hugh Freeze. It's over. It's done. Any sort of belief, any sort of confidence, any sort of form of hope you had, it's gone. It's gone. I mean, even after beating Arkansas, there were talks of like, okay, maybe Auburn could do what it takes to get undefeated and win out. I had so many people talk to me that's like, I think Auburn can win out. And there was that belief still. After all of the crap we've seen this year, there was still hope. There was still belief that, hey, maybe, just maybe, this guy who gets paid millions of dollars to coach football, who spent a bunch of money, other people's money, to build this really, really good roster, we thought maybe he could do it. And he can't. I was asked a few times on radio shows throughout the week, like, you know, the argument for and against Freeze, and it comes down to like, can you think Hugh Freeze can win a championship? And I said, I personally don't. I don't think so. And now the question is, can he win another SEC game? And the answer to that is no. You think we're going to Vandy next week and winning? You think we're going to do anything against Alabama in the Iron Bowl? I don't care who the interim is. I mean, maybe you get a spark, but what Hugh Freeze has built culturally on the offensive side of the football is an absolute joke. We are the butt of the joke throughout all of college football, and it sucks. Auburn has so much resources. Auburn has so much fan support and the passion. Did you see Jordan-Hare Stadium tonight? One of the place that is known for no matter what Auburn does on the field, Jordan-Hare Stadium is rocking. Jordan-Hare Stadium supports the Auburn Tigers. Hugh Freeze has killed the environment at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Brian Harsin couldn't do that. I tell you what, I don't care who's your coach. They're scoring more than 3 points against Kentucky. And I want to be very clear. I'm not going to come up here and talk about the quarterback play. I'm not. We might talk about it a little bit tomorrow on tomorrow's show, but Ashton Daniels, like, it really stinks for Ashton Daniels. He was given this opportunity. He was given this opportunity where he wasn't really coming to be a starter, and he got this really cool moment, and he couldn't do anything with it because the scheme is awful. Cale Ellis got bullied all night, but look, Cale Ellis wasn't brought in to be the starter this year. It stinks. And then like these receivers who are limited, we were asked the question when we were on the live on the barn, when's the last time a receiver caught a pass going forward? All our passing game has become is comeback routes. You have Cam Coleman, you have Eric Singleton, you have Malcolm Simmons. You have all of these pieces that you spent so much effort and resources to get, and you can't advance the ball downfield. Everything's coming back. Everything is passive. The slide protection of the offensive line made no sense. It's clear Kentucky was slanting and stunting away from it. There's not one aspect of this football team outside of what DJ Durkin does defensively that makes sense. I mean, even from the the starting field position, like everything's an absolute joke. Auburn started at their own 15, their own 2, their own 12, their own 25, their own 12, the Kentucky 35, because thank goodness the Auburn defense made a play. That's the only reason you had points tonight, by the way. We'll get to that in a second. The Auburn 9, the Auburn 8, the Auburn 17, the Auburn 9. You have this anemic offense. You know this as a head coach, and you aren't doing anything to doctor this up with special teams. You can't do anything outside of what DJ Durkin has on the defense. Right. You can't do anything. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And somehow it's getting worse. I thought, okay, Auburn's offense struggled against these elite defenses, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, kind of differing opinions on how good that defense is. Georgia, Missouri. Oh, but it's coming. It's coming. Arkansas. Anybody can score in Arkansas. Anybody can score on Kentucky. Not Auburn. Not a Hugh Freeze offense in 2025. No way. No way. Just got sent some stats. Lowest scoring in the Freeze era. That was Kentucky's first win in the SEC since September 28th of last year versus Ole Miss. John Cohen, don't wait till tomorrow. Do it tonight. Do it tonight. Put him through the press conference. Let him wear it. Let him answer those questions. Let him say, hey, Hugh Freeze, how did you let it get to this point? How did you convince and lie to all of these offensive players and say, hey, we want to be elite at Auburn. We're selling you this vision. We need you to help us restore Auburn to this former glory. You lied to all of them. I don't understand how at any point you could just draw up this offense and say, yes, this is what's going to work. This is what's going to work. The lack of a passing attack, the lack of any sort of space created by these wide receivers tonight was a joke. Like, obviously, the offensive line was really bad, and I do think a lot of it was Cale Ellis being 17, and he's playing against a grown man, a good defensive tackle, a good nose tackle for Kentucky. They highlighted that at the start of the broadcast. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely something worth noting. But even then, like, the slide protections didn't help out Cale Ellis. And then, I mean, he wasn't the only offensive lineman getting beat. And I've been pretty defensive of the offensive line throughout this year. But goodness gracious, somebody step up and say, yo, we got our backup quarterback starting. Let's try to help him out. But it just kind of goes back to the fact of, like, yeah, nobody wants to step up on the offensive side of the football. Jeremiah Cobb tried. I tell you what, Perry Thompson tried. Perry Thompson has a good plays. I wish he was a larger part of the offense. Cam Coleman tried. Eric Singleton, I think we forget he's on the team sometimes. It doesn't make any sense. And Malcolm Simmons, the fact that all he's doing is catching punts, it's a joke. It's a joke. We got more next. Worst Auburn loss since when? Let me know in the comments. That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Boy, did I say hit the under. I did. I thought Auburn would win, but goodness gracious, I told you to hit the under. Don't think any of us saw 13 total points. Well, a few did. A few people commented that, and props to y'all. FanDuel, right now, new customers get $5. You get $300 in bonus bets if that first bet hits. Keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. That's what the copy says. I don't know what that feels like anymore. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the best place to buy tickets. Tickets for Auburn games get cheaper by the second. or just go watch Auburn basketball. Go watch Auburn basketball. They will not wreck you like Auburn football will at this point. Download the Game Time app. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege. You get $20 off your first purchase. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. That's on the Game Time app. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Hugh Freeze has ruined so many things about Auburn. And the most important one is the hope. Is the hope that something better is coming, because goodness gracious, we are loyal. I mean, we were finding ways of like, okay, if something happens, if you could just figure out how to use these receivers, or if you can just run it a little bit more, we think you can do it. We think you can do it. And then you just keep finding ways. You just keep finding ways to lose football games. This one was just an all-timer. 3 points. This feels worse than 2012 to me. Because 2012, like, at least you had Cam and the Natty 2 years prior. This year, they had us believing. I mean, they convinced us. That, like, Jackson Arnold was the answer. And then you hear all these things that are coming out. You hear all these things that are coming out throughout camp of, like, how they're babying Jackson. And, I mean, that's something that I talked about this a little bit when we went live on the Barn, but I've heard and talked to so many players on both sides of the ball and they use the word babied, that on the defense, they've got this culture and this desire to compete and this high level of accountability. And on the offensive side, it's, we're going to baby the stars. All of the playmakers they keep saying the word babied over and over and over again. And that's why you score 3 points against the second worst defense in the SEC. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like to have one of the worst offenses in P4. This is what it looks like to have the worst on-field product that Auburn has had in a long, long time. It's so sad. It's so sad. Auburn loses this game 10-0. We don't score if Elijah Melendez does not make a play. Let's say that again. Auburn scores 0 points if Elijah Melendez does not score or does not intercept the ball. Then they had a moment where they got the ball back, and it's like, okay, all right. And then they fumbled it on the interception return. And it's like, if that's not a perfect example and a perfect metaphor from what we've been the last 3 years, I don't know what is. Where it's like, oh, just kidding. And it all happened under Hugh Freeze. What an absolute joke. Brandon Marcello tweets, Kentucky defeats Auburn 10-3 on the Plains. Kentucky's first SEC win. Auburn's first loss when allowing 10 points or less since 1991. Auburn's 1-5 in the SEC for the second straight year. Hugh Freeze is 2-9 in the SEC at Jordan-Hare Stadium, one of the toughest environments in the SEC. If we wake up tomorrow and Hugh Freeze is the coach, John Cohen, you have made a major error. This can't happen anymore. Auburn fans deserve better than this. This program, this university, this fan base, this family. We deserve better than this. Give us hope again. It's over. There's not a scenario where you can salvage this under Hugh Freeze. But I tell you what, there is a scenario where if you move on from him and you have interim, we all assume it would be DJ Durkin. Maybe you put up a fight against. I mean, we talk about a spark. The issue is I don't know who calls plays, but it can't be worse. We scored 3 points. All we do is like, all right, receivers, run downfield and then come back for the ball. That's all we do. That's all we do. Surely somebody else on the staff can do that. Whether it's Derek Nix, whether it's Ken Austin, I don't care. I don't care. It's time to move on. This can't happen again. We're not doing this anymore. We're not doing this anymore. What an absolute joke. And it's got to the point where like, I don't really even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Yeah, I mean, apparently everybody's chanting fire Hugh or fire freeze. So we made it to the press conference. A lot of people were saying fire him before the press conference. I'm like, nah, let him wear this. Let him answer the questions. Hugh Freeze says Keldrick Falk and Champ Anthony, along with DJ Durkin and his staff, have done an incredible job of keeping guys on the defensive side of the ball engaged and locked in. We don't like, you don't need to talk about the defense, my guy. You don't need to talk about the defense right now. Hugh Freeze talking about the offensive line. We took a pretty good kicking tonight. Run game was pretty decent, but pass pro, we had very little chance to sustain. And that was the thing that he said going into the half. Where it's like, oh, we found something in the running game. And it's like, well, Cobb was turning out something, but they were in prevent. They had guys way off the line. Cobb had 20 touches for 72 yards. That's 3.6 yards a carry. Like, that's not great. He had 40 carries as a team for 118 yards. If you take away Cobb's 26-yarder, that's like a totally different thing. I mean, that's not entirely fair to do, but like, let's don't act like Hugh Freeze saying that the running game was okay. My guy, you scored 3 points. Hugh Freeze says, I wish we could ask for patience, but I understand we're probably not going to get that. What has the last 3 years been, my guy? What? You want to ask for patience, but we're probably not going to get that. Don't play victim, Hugh Freeze. No, sir. No, sir. We are not doing that. Somebody tweeted that he just said that they're really close again. I just can't. I can't do that. I can't do that. Man, how did we get to this point? I mean, there were so many things that could have gone wrong with this. Like when we hired Hugh Freeze, having the elite talent and scoring 3 points was just not on the bingo card for me because of the play calling. Just because that's like, it's never done that. He's never like, that's not really been the issue anywhere he's been. To ask for more patience is so tone deaf and so unaware. Like the performative stuff he did before a game a few weeks ago, where like War Eagle Plus posted, I mean, it was great content where he's like, there's some family who parked, miles away, hiked up to the highest stadium seat in the stadium and spent a lot of saved for weeks for this ticket to watch you guys play. Like, where's that guy? That's great that video caught that moment, but like, where has he been the rest of the time? Where's he been the other 3 years? Where was he tonight? Was he thinking about the fan that parked miles away, that climbed all those stairs and saved for weeks for a ticket to an SEC game at night? He care about them tonight? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Look like it to y'all? I mean, the whole second half, it just looked like a guy who wanted it to be done. It looks like he wants it to be over. So it looks like he was asked about scoring touchdowns, and I don't think he answered it. Okay, he was asked about the fans who were chanting "Fire Freeze," and he said, "I wish I could ask for patience, but that's not something people want to give in this day and time, and I understand that. I just think we're so dang close. You can't. This is so unserious right now. It's so this doesn't seem like real life." And then the quarterback management of it too. What are we? I think starting Ashton was the right move going into this for sure. I did say throughout the week, he was the backup quarterback for a reason, but it wasn't his fault. I mean, guys were all over him. And then where he did have time, all these receivers were blanket. It's like that Geico commercial. It's like, wow, this Geico's really got you covered. And you're like a blanket. They couldn't create any room. And so he threw it away a lot, or he ran it. And when he ran it, it was actually pretty good. I think there probably should have been more design stuff like that. But okay, so you let Ashton go, and then you say, all right, we're going with Jackson. And then you let Jackson do, I think it was 2 drives. It's like, okay, well, that didn't work. It looked the exact same. And then when the job is on the line, he went back to Ashton, and it didn't work. It didn't work. But it wouldn't have, I don't think you could put anybody back there in this scheme behind this offensive line. I don't think you could have done any of that. I still believe we're really close. It has to be. He has to be doing it on purpose. He has to be doing it on purpose at this point. There's no way he's that unaware. Somebody just said it. I can't click it because the live chat's going so fast, but I hate it for the players. These players were there's 2 sides of this. The defense, these guys are elite. You have 11 guys on the field doing their job, and they've been nothing short of elite. They've been nothing short of spectacular. And I know I saw some people pushing back late in the game, like, oh, this defense isn't as good as we talk like it is. It is. They're on the field all the time. They get no breaks. They get no rest, and they've got to do everything. So you hate it for them because they're doing everything right. When you recruit these guys, whether it's through the portal or through the high school ranks, you say, we want to play championship football at Auburn. And the defense is. And then you look at the offense, and all of these guys were promised, once again, restore Auburn to that former glory. And you haven't coached them in a way that has any sort of attention to detail, any sort of ability to execute. And I think it's a lot of things. I don't think the scheme is good. I don't think the play calling is good. I don't think the decision at quarterback was good. I think you missed on Jackson Arnold, clearly. And you've created a culture that doesn't cultivate any sort of accountability. I mean, you don't take accountability from the podium. You're still asking for patience. You were asked about the people that were saying, hey, you need to get fired because you've done historically awful things at Auburn from a record standpoint, and you can't win. And your response is, yeah, I wish I could ask for patience, but in this day and time, you're not going to get that. You're demonizing the fans? That's your response? That's your response? I've been sent more tweets. Justin Ferguson tweets, Auburn's offensive EPA in SEC play this season. Oklahoma minus 6.3, A&M minus 20, Georgia minus 11, Missouri 0.69, nice. Arkansas 1.27, Kentucky minus 12.61. The only 2 positive games were barely above 0. So sad. Here's another quote from Freeze. My job is to get this team ready to play and win games, and we have failed to do that this year, and it's frustrating. I still believe we're really close. I know that this team plays hard for this university. Thank you, Coach. Thanks. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. It just doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real. I want to look at one more thing. Because we got so much time. We get an hour tonight. We get an extra hour of sleep. I want to see how many points Kentucky's defense has allowed this year in each game. It's been a lot. They allowed 16 points against Toledo. We scored 3. They allowed 23 against Ole Miss. We scored 3. Eastern Michigan scored 23 points against Kentucky. We scored 3. South Carolina 13. We scored 3. Georgia 14. We scored 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Georgia 35. South Carolina 35. Excuse me. Texas scored 16 in overtime. That was a wild game. Tennessee scored 56 points against Kentucky. We scored 3 points. We scored 3 points. We scored 3 points. And if Elijah Melendez doesn't get an interception, we get shut out by a not good Kentucky team at Jordan-Hare Stadium. I mean, this is it, guys. It's done. It's done. John Cohen, I saw this on Twitter. You have an extra hour tonight to fire Hugh Freeze. Use it wisely. Don't let this get into tomorrow. Don't let him. I know there was a theory that you do it after Vandy because of the bye week. You cannot wait that long. You cannot wait that long. You've got to do it. And if not, like you can't say that you care about this fan base. Unrelated, Mercer, who's who we play after Vandy before the Iron Bowl, scored 52 on Furman tonight. Mercer 7-1. Take that for what it's worth. Man. Guys, I don't know what else to say. If anybody has any questions, I'll try to grab them. They're so fast. There's so many of y'all in here. I mean, you throw to Cam Coleman 8 times, you get 5 targets, and it's just Cam Coleman gets 5 catches. If you would have told me going into the year, hey, you're going to have a night where Cam Coleman gets 5 catches, how many yards does he get? I would say 188. How about 34? Because all we can do is receivers go, come back. Perry, 3 catches for 17 yards. Perry somehow had 7 targets. It doesn't feel like that. And then Eric Singleton, 9 targets, 2 catches for 12 yards. Look, I mean, we bring up Preston Howard. Like, he kept the game alive with a 19-yard catch. Good for him. But I just, guys. I know we're all eager to have the who do you hire conversation. I think Auburn's in a unique spot, different to Florida and Penn State and LSU, because the big pushback is like, oh, Auburn can't compete with these other schools. Well, like, they don't necessarily have to. Like, they can get, make the calls, and I'm sure they've got their short list of 2 or 3 guys that a lot of other people are going to be interested in. But worst case, you get DJ Durkin, and it's better than it is right now. Florida doesn't have that. Penn State kind of does, but it doesn't seem like they're going to do it. LSU doesn't have that. Worst case, you get DJ Durkin, and it's better than what you have right now. Man, it's so crazy they put Jackson and they took him out. Am I the only one who thinks that? Because I didn't really see a whole lot of that on Twitter while that was going on, but I thought that was they pulled Jackson and put him back, or pulled Ashton and put him back in. Like, I thought that was crazy. Y'all are asking about my cup. This is water. I have water in here. Chill. I'm drinking water. Promise. All right. Somebody said DJ Durkin could leave. I don't think that's realistic. Like, I don't think there's a chance that happens. It could, but I don't think that happens. God, it just sucks that we're the joke of college football right now. I'm afraid that John Cohen's not going to do it. John Cohen does not want to fire Hugh Freeze. And I'm all for loyalty. I'm all for it. But at some point, like, you've got to have a culture of accountability. Only one 100-yard performance all season by any Auburn wide receiver. It was Cam Coleman, his 6 catches against Missouri. This incredible receiving core. You have 100-yard receiving performance. Thank y'all for hanging out for a few minutes. We'll see how things are in the morning. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.